My Father's Shadow, the debut feature from Akinola Davies Jr., has been officially selected to compete at the 78th edition of the prestigious Festival de Cannes in Uncertain Regard section, which champions bold, visionary, and original voices in international cinema. Akinola's first feature film, My Father's Shadow, also makes history as Nigeria's first official selection at Cannes. A semi-autobiographical tale set over the course of a single day in the Nigerian capital, Lagos, during the 1993 Nigerian election crisis. The story follows a father estranged from his two young sons as they travel through the massive city while political unrest threatens their journey home. We are now being joined by the delectable pair of Wale Davies and Fumbi Ogunbanwo, both of them producers and valuable contributors to the making of My Father's Shadow. Great to have you both in the morning show. We're so happy and excited for you both. First of all, a big congratulations.
Thank you.
We've wanted this spot for a hot minute, I'll say as Nigeria, as a country. So talk to me first of all about how it feels to have been selected, the announcement, the selection process, being told that you are going to be it. What did that feel like?
I think the initial feeling was, when we were making the film, we didn't really set out to be Nigeria's first. Quite frankly, we didn't know, and when you're making a film, you're just kind of tunnel vision, you're focused on like the project that is at hand and what is in front of you. And honestly, like we wouldn't be here without the support of like our partners. We were financed by the BBC and the BFI and, Mubi as well, and our production partners, Element Pictures in the UK. So for us, it was really like a joint effort and such a celebratory moment when we finally found out that we were selected. And it was later that we realized, hang on a minute, we actually are the first. And it's our first film, it's the first for Nigeria, it's the first of many, many things. And it's a very surreal moment for us, for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to you both. I mean, I guess I'll come to Wale on this question. I know that you are, the writer in this film. A huge congratulations. And I mean, comes right at the time, the former military president, Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, unveiled his book, his memoir. And, it's such an inspirational moment for a lot of Nigerians that lived through that time. I'd like to know what aspect of Akintola Davies inspired this film.
I think really the film was inspired by, in a lot of ways, our father who passed away when we were quite young, and I guess like an exploration of what, spending a day with your father would feel like, getting to know him. A lot of the information we got about him was from friends and family members and other people who said, your father was this or was like this. So just writing from that perspective of spending a day and literally the gift of a day, getting to spend time with him. And I think as well, the second thing, there's a lot going on in politics every time, every day in Nigeria. But I think remembering growing up and my mom being very excited about the possibility of MKO coming into power. And, and I just remember that excitement. I was probably about 11, 12 years old at the time. And so it was marrying two things, marrying the idea of a father and marrying the idea of a nation being a father and what that means, and the promise of what, we keep hoping for a better Nigeria and praying for a better Nigeria. And I think there have been key moments in our history that we could have headed in that direction. And I think that was one of those moments. So also then seeing IBB coming out and more or less confessing, I think was perfect timing for our film as well. Yeah.
All right, let me come to Fumbi and also to express my congratulations to you guys. Cannes, to many people, is a big deal. People say that it is the World Cup of cinema, Two things. What was it like shooting My Father's Shadow? Where was it shot and when? I know that it was Akinola's debut, but what was the experience like for you, given that you were also a producer on the set? And then this is something that you both might want to answer. What are you looking forward to achieving in Cannes? I know a bit about Cannes. There was a Nigerian film, not in the official competition, but in the unofficial one of the categories that was unofficial, Newton Aduaka's Ezra in 2007, which was in the International Critics Week. It isn't like the main competition category and the Uncertain Regard where your film will be playing. That was in 2007. But before then, in 2004, the same category where your film will be playing, the Senegalese film by Ousmane Sembène, and you know that was the father of African cinema, actually won in that category with Moulade, his film about female genital mutilation and everything. So, what are you looking forward to achieving in Cannes, given that in that same category there are 2 other African films from Egypt and from Tunisia? You'll be representing Nigeria. Should we be hopeful that, like Moulade did in 2004, we too can come back with something big?
So I should probably answer the second question first.
Okay.
I think, again, I think with film, it's such a team effort and everyone's putting so much blood, sweat, and tears. We shot in Lagos and in Ibadan. We shot over the course of 5-6 weeks, thereabouts. And it was so iconic for us because when the announcement came out, it was exactly 1 year that we wrapped. So we wrapped our shoot April 10th, 2024, and the announcement came out April 10th, 2025. Wow. So, there's been a lot of alignment of things. And I think for myself, Wale, Aki, and also our partners, we're just putting one foot in front of the other. It's already a big deal that we're in Cannes. We hope to get an award, but it's, again, to even be with such great filmmakers, be with other African filmmakers as well, it feels like this is truly like a moment that we can call a win already.
Absolutely.
And so, it would be amazing to bring home an award and to win it and to share it with our team members who created it, both at home and in other parts of Africa and in the UK as well. But if we don't, then it's okay, because we have another thing to look forward to, and we also have a world where we know that our stories can be seen on a universal screen, and our stories have a place in that universal storytelling. And this really is a Nigerian story through and through. It has Yoruba, it has Pidgin in it. Shokwe Dirisu, who was our lead actor, was amazing and phenomenal. And through that, we've also been able to discover new talent, because his co-leads, Godwin and Chibuke, the 2 boys who play his son, they were street cast, they're new to the screen, they've never acted before. So again, it was a first for a lot of people, and it's a first for a lot of us as well. And I think, the production process, shooting in Nigeria, anybody will tell you, it does not come without challenges. It has its ups and its downs, and when you have a mix of people coming together to make things for the first time, there's a stretching process. There's discomfort, but there's resilience, and there's joy, and there's hope, and there's tears, and there's laughter. So it was a mix of many things, but what it was certainly was just an intention to create excellent work, and I think that's what we did.
That's amazing.
Wale, I would really like you to join the conversation. Now, with regards to, Fatherland, which I think is a broader conversation, part of the My Father's Shadow story, what would you say Fatherland played, how did Fatherland, which is of course the production company, play a major role in getting to this point where, of course, this film is now selected? I know there was the short film Lizard that, there was a lot of talk about at some point in time, and now this is coming off the back of that. Was this produced after or before Lizard? So what role has Fatherland played in the production of this story?
I think the main thing for us is to just championing African talent as much as possible. As Fumbi mentioned, there were a lot of amazing people from the UK, and also new talent on the screen. And also new talent on the screen, and there was a huge cast of actors who are well established in Nollywood as well, who were in this film. I think Lizard was our first foray into film. It was a short film we did. We shot in 2020. It won at Sundance, for example. We were in the pandemic at the time, so we didn't get to experience any of that. We didn't get to go anywhere. We learned about all these things from a screen, and so now that we've been able to really capture the length and breadth of our home, Lagos, Ibadan, all of these places in this film, in My Father's Shadow. I think that for us as Fatherland, it's also, like Fumbi said, it's us stretching. Our production is our first feature film. We brought on a lot of amazing talent, both cast and crew, and I think it's just it's a signifier, it's a start of what we intend to do. We've got amazing partners who support financially, who support technically everything we do. We had an amazing producer, Rachel Dagavel from the UK, who had worked across many other African films as well. And for us, we just intend to continue telling Nigerian stories, telling African stories. So it's not just about us. The aim, the biggest award from this would be, we already come from a rich lineage of storytellers in Nigeria, writers, storytellers, filmmakers. So it's just to continue to champion that and let people know that on a global stage, like Fumbi said, our stories are valid. Our stories are real and are interesting as well. They're universal. So.
Very interesting, Fumbi. I mean, you said it was a first for a lot of, people in that production, and especially you. It's your first film, isn't it?
It's my first film as a producer.
Is it your first film as a producer?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank
And for our viewers, for the benefit of our viewers, I'd like to know what informed your decision in terms of, submitting it for that uncertain regard selection, and also how you were able to partner with, companies like the BBC and, your financiers, just for people that, look up to you and want to emulate what you have done right now.
I think, I think the first thing is, we at Fatherland, we have a legacy of sticking with our tribe and working with people that have been with us from day one, and people who saw us and gave us opportunities to shine, And that's what we do with our crew. It's also what we do with our partners. So with Lizard, for instance, Rachel, who's our UK producer, she was the producer as well for Lizard, And, Wale and Akin wrote Lizard as well. Akin directed Lizard as well. I was a co-producer on Lizard as well, even though it's a short film. So with that relationship, it was, COVID happened and, the world was shut down. And when the world is shut down, Aki and Wale come up with ideas, because that's what they do. And literally it was, right after COVID, the start of what was My Father's Shadow was penned down by Wale, and it initially was going to be a short film as well. And then when Akin saw it, it then became fleshed out into like this feature. And when we showed Rachel, and she absolutely loved it, and through that strategic partnership, we were then able to secure financing from the BBC and the BFI, because the BBC also supported us during Lizard as well. So it's been a rich history of building relationships and doing it intentionally, and also collaborating with people all over the world who also recognize that stories from the continent are universal. Stories for the continent have rich cultural specificity, but also have universal themes that resonate with people all over the world. Yeah.
All right. Before we let you go, Wale, just two quick things. One, the Nigerian government is going to Cannes this year. Hopefully, they will get a pavilion. And what they're promoting in Cannes this year is what they call Screen Nigeria, which is essentially to expose Nigerian content. This is a Nigerian film. Have you been reached out to by the Nigerian government, particularly the Ministry of Arts, Culture, and the Creative Economy? That's one. And two, you co-wrote the film. It's a Nigerian project. Will you say that this is a Nollywood film?
Oh, dear.
Yeah, so there's two parts. I think the first one, I have to start by saying, the support and the way that the Ministry of Culture and Tourism have really championed us has been really, really great to see. I think that they've realized the potential of film. And I have to be fair, there's so many people in the film world, so I think for them seeing a Nigerian film cut across in this way, I think the way they've reached out to us, we've spoken to them, we've had a lot of, great, meaningful conversations. I also want to say that, for us to be able to execute the film in the first place, there was a lot of permits, a lot of different things that, the great people in Lagos State were able to help us with. just to ensure that, it was smooth sailing as much as possible. So I also want to give credit to them as well for just supporting in that way and creating a conducive environment. And for me, I feel that the win of us just even being selected is a win for Nigerian film, and that's what I view it as. And Nollywood for me is the first place that I saw the ability for us to tell our stories. My uncle, back in the day, I remember as a child, my uncle tried his hand, dabbled his hand in making a Nollywood film, and actually used our house to shoot when we were growing up. And it was the first time I saw cameras and people acting, and for me, it just sparked an imagination, and I think that there's a rich tapestry of film in Nollywood, and we're happy to just continue the Nigerian narrative and push the Nigerian narrative. So yeah, we're grateful to be a part,
So is it an Nollywood film? For me, you keep laughing at it.
I do.
Okay, your response.
For me, I say.
Is it?
I think, honestly, it is an independent film. And I think, that it is an independent film, and I feel like Nollywood has a very broad meaning, and I think there are filmmakers who are, young like myself, and like Wale, and like Akin, who leverage on the history of what has existed before, but are also building a new thing, and are showing that this new thing has its own place as well. And
would that be new Nollywood?
We can call it that.
Well, Funbi, Wale, this has been completely insightful. I, for one, am excited for the future of this because, as you already know, from Cannes festival season, then we get into award season. And festival season is a beautiful precursor to what we can expect from the award season in general. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this movie does so much more better.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to seeing it at the Globes, maybe the Oscars. We'll see. Congratulations to you both once again, and thank you so much for joining us.